reached her ninth birthday hoping her grandma and aunts would join the celebration. Instead, she spent most of the day gazing down an empty driveway, waiting for people who had already decided they would not appear. What unfolded that day finally made me choose between keeping the rest of my relatives' content and shielding my child. I had filled the backyard with pink balloons, a large bounce house, and a princess cake inspired by Mila's favorite game. 9 other little girls were expected, and I had spent more than I could comfortably afford to make everything just right. My mother and sisters had promised to arrive early, yet noon arrived with no sign of them. "Mom, is Grandma coming?" Mila asked for the third time. I forced a smile. "They're probably just running late, sweetheart." Then Aunt Carol showed up by herself. Mila hugged her and immediately looked past her. "Where's Grandma?" Before I could reply, my phone vibrated. My mother's text read, "Don't be dramatic, it's only a kid's party, we'll make it up to her at Christmas." I stared at the screen in shock. They could not manage to attend my daughter's birthday, yet they never hesitated to ask me for money whenever they needed it. For years I had paid my sister's bills, helped my mother, bought costly Christmas presents, and covered every family crisis. In 3 years I had handed them more than $23,000, and almost none of it had ever been repaid. That evening, while I washed the party dishes, another message arrived. "Need $350 for a family emergency. Can you send it today?" The plate in my hand cracked. Something inside me finally shattered with it. A week later, my relatives announced that Savannah was having an elaborate birthday celebration. They expected me to cover $1,850 for their portion because Mom was supposedly living on a fixed income. Then I discovered something worse. They had already signed the hotel contract weeks before Mila's birthday. They had known they would not come. They had simply chosen not to. I checked my bank balance. I had $42.13 set aside for Mila's braces and emergencies. Giving them more money would mean taking something away from my own child, so I opened Venmo. I typed my mother's name, entered the amount $1, wrote the memo "Congratulations," and pressed send. For the first time in years, I felt free. The next day, I changed the locks and contacted the hotel to have my name removed from the event sponsorship. My family erupted. That night, my mother and sisters arrived at my house, pounding on the door and yelling that I was betraying the family. Mila stood behind me clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Should we let them in?" "No, sweetheart, people have to respect our home." The police eventually came. I showed the officer the messages, the receipts, and the payment records. There were no threats and no stolen property. There was simply a woman who had finally stopped financing everyone else. After they left, Mila sat on her bed and asked the question that tore at my heart. "Am I not important enough? Is that why Grandma didn't come?" I knelt beside her and took her hands. "You are the most important person in my world. That is exactly why I have to protect you from people who do not treat you like you matter." She hugged me and I cried with her. The next morning, my sister attacked me on social media, telling everyone I had abandoned my family. I could have posted every receipt and exposed everything. Instead, I wrote 5 words: "I wish you all well." Then I closed the app and something remarkable happened. The people who had never been there for us vanished, but the people who truly cared drew closer. Aunt Carol drove hours to visit. My neighbor brought food. My coworker helped with extra shifts. Even one of Mila's classmates sent her $3 from her own savings because she had missed the birthday party. That $3 meant more than every expensive gift my relatives had ever promised. Months passed and our life grew peaceful. I began saving for Mila's braces and her education. We painted the living room yellow and built a small bookshelf together. Mila grew happier. Her teacher even told me she seemed more confident. Then she brought home a school project titled "My Hero." It showed 2 stick figures holding hands under a crayon sunset. Above them, she had written, "My mom taught me that love does not hurt." I had to turn away because I could not stop crying. Eventually, my family started reaching out again. Some messages carried guilt, others appeared sincere. I did not rush back. I learned that boundaries did not equal hatred. They simply meant deciding what behavior I would accept. The following October, Mila turned 10. We celebrated at the park with homemade cake, ice cream, and the people who actually showed up. That night, I looked around our little house. On the wall hung a picture of Mila and me surrounded by the people who had chosen to be part of our lives. Beneath it was a small wooden plaque that read, "Our family." And at last I understood. Family is not merely the people who share your blood. Family is the people who show up when it matters. That birthday taught me something I will never forget. I had spent years trying to make my relatives choose us. I never realized I could choose us myself, and for the first time in my life, I did.